Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today, sorry I'm ugly, I literally don't have any clothes. I'm doing my laundry right now, like I was literally out of clothes. Also, my hair is a mess because I slept on it. I had like a 4-hour nap. I'm exhausted today. Just sick in general. My dad's sick, everybody's sick. I don't even know what's going on. So, today I'm going to be talking about Katie Tunstall, who is one of my favorite singers. She's Scottish, sort of like pop rock. You'll see what I'm talking about. If you haven't heard of her, please check her out. She's maybe my favorite singer. I'm not sure. Like as a solo artist, I have like favorite bands and stuff, but I absolutely love her music. And this is another artist, kind of like with the Oasis episode. She does not have a bad album. All of her albums are really good. She does tend to front load a bit, but I don't think she has a bad song or a bad album. Everything she's ever released is fantastic, if you ask me. And I think she is a fantastic singer, and I love her style. So, she has 6 albums and has gone through all sorts of styles in her career, I guess we would say. So today, I'm going to be ranking all of her albums and rating them and giving scores. Now, again, these ratings are all really close and all really positive ratings. Nothing got lower than an 8.7, so I very much love her albums, very much love her songs. But in general, this is just my opinion. Everybody's going to have a different opinion. So at number 6 is going to be Ken from 2016. Her 5th album. So I probably will delve more into these albums individually in other videos. I may rank the tracks and stuff. So Ken is probably her weakest album in my opinion. I was really excited when it came out. I listened to it a ton when it came out, but I just never really, something I don't find myself going back to all that much. There are a ton of good songs on here. I still gave it an 8.7. So the best song in my opinion has got to be the 4th track on the album, Evil Eye. I think this is the only album by her I didn't give a 10 out of 10, kind of like, I think Dig Out, Dig Out Your Soul got a 10 out of 10. I forget which Oasis album it was. It was Be Here Now. That didn't get a 10 out of 10 track. So, this, album is absolutely fantastic. It opens up with Hard Girls, which, is a really good song. I will say before I go into this that the general feel of this album feels a little more pop friendly, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. I like it when she gets her rock on, and her acoustic stuff is also really good. This is a little more upbeat and pop friendly album, which I don't mind at all, but not my favorite sound for her. So, again, the album opens up with Hard Girls, which has some really nice guitar work on it, some riffs. It almost reminds me, it feels kind of 90s, it almost reminds me of like a Blur song, which is kind of weird, except a lot more hard-hitting, because it's Katie Tunstall. And then, it goes into Turn the Light On, which is a nice slow song. It's decent enough. Maybe It's a Good Thing. Again, very pop-leaning. And Evil Eye, which is probably my favorite song on the album. Fantastic rock, hard-hitting rock song, of course. Took me so long to get here. And here I am. Very long song title and just kind of mediocre in my opinion. And My Star, which is a nice slow song. Of course, Two Way. A really good song. Duet with James Bay. Run On Home is a decent song as well. And then, of course, the title track, Kim, which just has these like really great layered vocals and just kind of builds and builds, and I love that about it. And, of course, I just love how that builds up. Just a fantastic song. Everything has its shape, and Love is an Ocean are the closing songs. Not really all that memorable in my opinion. Again, a lot of it's very poppy, so definitely the weakest of her albums, but by far not bad. My favorite song on the album, best song, is Evil Eye, and the worst song I'll give it to Maybe It's a Good Thing. So, fantastic, fantastic album. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it, just compared to the others, not quite as good, trying to go more pop-friendly sound. Again, the opener's really good, Hard Girls was really good, I like Maybe It's a Good Thing, Evil Eye, of course, I said Two Way, On My Star, and Ken, those are probably the best songs on the album. The rest of it just kind of feels there from me. So, moving on to number 5, which I'm kind of surprised this actually got ranked so low because this album has some fantastic songs on it and is probably one of her more consistent ones overall, is her debut album, Eye to the Telescope, from 2004. So, this was her debut album. She sort of had a acoustic-y kind of folk pop, folk rock sound on her album with some of the hard-hitting tracks, of course, Black Horse and the Cherry Tree and Suddenly I See, which got very popular even over here and are still talked about. Sadly, she never really broke that big in America again, but I still love her. I still listen to all of her stuff. She is one of my favorite singers. She has a lot of slower and more acoustic songs on this album, not as much rock. This is more of a folkier, more still rock, but more acoustic-y type album for her first album. Of course, the album opener, Other Side of the World, which is pretty decent song. Another Place to Fall as well. Under the Weather, fantastic song. Some people might have heard that one. I really like that one. Miniature Disasters, I love that song. It describes, it's really relatable as well, like if you, especially with like anxiety and stuff, how the little things always get to you. Silent Sea, easily one of the best songs on the album. Such a good, again, one of those songs that builds, and I think this was the album, I listened to one of her later albums, Tiger Suit, first, and I think this was the album when I really appreciated her vocal capabilities, especially on Silent Sea, and Universe in You, which is the best song on the album. So much, it builds, it starts out like really chill, and then it just kind of builds into this like hard rocker on the chorus, hard hitting, and her vocals are so good. At Twisted Bridge, she just kind of belts it. I love the way she sings on this song. It's such a good song. False Alarm, also a really nice song. Again, Suddenly I See. Stop in the Love, a nice underrated song, and Heel Over, which is a really nice acoustic type song I love. And They Close You Through the Dark, which is one of her weaker closures in my opinion, but still very solid album with an 8.9. The best song easily, Universe in You. There isn't really a worse song on this album. I'm not really doing overrated and underrated because she's not that famous, but, overrated and underrated because she's not that famous here. But, I will say that I'll say overrated song for this album is probably Suddenly I See. I still love it, but, it's the only one that kind of gets talked about or whatever. So yeah, definitely fantastic debut from Katie Tunstall. It's a fantastic album with an 8.9. Alright, moving on to my number 4 in my rankings is going to be, hold on, I have to check, is going to be, Invisible Empire, Crescent Moon. So this is actually kind of tied in score with the next one, but I just kind of prefer the sound of the next one. So Invisible Empire, Crescent Moon, this was her kind of post-breakup album, 2013. This took where Tiger Suit had very more like folktronic, like upbeat electronic stuff. This album took her to very rootsy kind of folk, very soft, not really much rock or like upbeat stuff going on here. I really like it when she does rock out, but she's definitely good at doing the folk game. So Invisible Empire Crescent Moon is just an album that really has some good heartfelt songs on there. Again, there's like a lot of acoustic guitar in this album, a lot more piano than she usually uses. It's kind of very stripped down. It almost reminds me of somebody like Feist almost, which is really interesting sound coming from her. And I love Feist, by the way, but such a different kind of sound. And again, the songs in here are just really heartfelt and really good. So I give this one a 9.0. Again, this is tied with the next one. We'll get into that in a minute. So the best song on the album, undoubtedly, Chimes. Just such good harmonies. I love that song. And I gotta say, probably the weakest song on the album is Old Man Song, not a bad song, just forgettable. Again, the opener, Invisible Empire, is such a good song. The one I was just playing there, Made of Glass. I love that song. Very good. How You Kill Me is decent enough. And Carried is a good song. Absolutely love Yellow Flower, Crescent Moon. I love how Crescent Moon, like, toward the end, there's, like, a lot of noise that kind of builds up with some of these songs, Chimes as well. And almost a little bit of a psychedelic vibe with some of the noise that builds up. Of course, Feel It All, fantastic song, probably more of the more upbeat ones on this album, and Honeydew, and No Better Shoulder. All of the songs in this album are really heartfelt and solid. It's a nice, relaxing listen, but again, when I listen to her, oftentimes I want to go rock out, so she doesn't really bring her vocal capacity to the forefront here. Again, she's trying to go with, like, more of a Feist-type sound, more of an acoustic sound, which I am okay with, but probably not my favorite sound from her, but still a good album. Alright, so next up at number 3, I have an album that's actually tied in score, but I slightly prefer the sound of hers. So this is her most recent album from this year, 2018, Wax. I don't know why it stopped playing. That's weird. It just stopped playing. That was weird. There it is. So anyway, where Ken kind of disappointed me a bit, not initially, with the more pop-friendly sound, fortunately she went back to doing some rockier stuff on this album, which I really appreciate. Ken, Wax, and so far Untitled album are going to be a trilogy of albums. But I think I preferred this to Ken a good bit. I mean, they're still all really solid, but listening to this through, I was like, oh, this is better than Ken. There's still some weak songs, there's still some things don't feel as cohesive or whatever. But yeah, absolutely fantastic song. I actually talked to her on Twitter about this. I can't believe that this happened. I know she's not that famous, but, I have never, like, talked to any celebrities on Twitter, like, I've been trying to get Gabby Hanna to notice me for months. She's a YouTuber, and I'm hoping I can share, if Liam Gallagher ever tweets again, I'm hoping I can share my artwork with him. But, but I never really talk to celebrities on Twitter. It doesn't happen. They don't tend to notice me. So, but she liked my tweet. I posted something about a new album. I can't even remember. I was just listening to it. I liked it, and, we conversed. I said which songs I liked, and we actually had a really good time conversing about it. She likes my Instagram comments all the time. She seems to be, like, really good at, like, interacting with her fans, and I really love that about her. So, I would love to see her live someday. I haven't, but I would love to. So, going back to, I'll have to see next time she announces tour dates, but going back to the album, Wax, of course, it opens with Little Red Thread, which is a fantastic jam, fantastic rock song. Again, I loved how this went with a more, different kind of sound. She's always good at opening albums. We'll get into that in a minute. Again, Hard Girls was a really good opener, but this song is also a really good opener. I think the song might be better than Hard Girls, again, because it was more for a rocky than pop. Of course, and then the second song, Human Being, which is one I was just playing, fantastic, like, really driven rock song. I want to be everything for you, but I'm just a human being. I love that. Just so down to earth. That's what I love about her. She's always so down to earth and always has so much going for her. And the next song is The River, which was the lead-off single. When I heard this, I wasn't initially super excited for the album. I was just kind of, like, oh, she's kind of playing it safe, but I have appreciated this song. It's still a good song. And The Mountain, which I absolutely love. There's, like, a little electronic influence on this album as well. I'd say, but not in a poppy or annoying way at all that, like, Ken did. There's a little more, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Tiger Suit, which, as far as I'm concerned, is a good thing. We'll be getting to that in a minute. So, the sound on this album reminds me a little bit of Tiger Suit, but still, more down-to-earth and rocky than Tiger Suit. Tiger Suit, we'll get into, but, still, I think this is a better sound for her than Tiger Suit in general, but what she did on Tiger Suit was fantastic. We'll get into that. So yeah. And then, of course, the Healer Redux, which may be my favorite song on the album, for sure. Just such a good jam. And her vocals on that, on the chorus, oh my god. And it just builds up, the chorus is so good. Dark Side of Me is a nice slow song, kind of forgettable. Poison in Your Cup, a song I really like. Probably the most chill song with the title Poison in Your Cup that I could ever, like, poison in your cup, that I could ever think of. And then Backlash and Vinegar, which was a song to me that wasn't that impressive at first, but as she goes into the chorus, it just builds, like, oh my god. And, In This Body, another really good song. The Night That Bowie Died is a good song. And, of course, Tiny Love, which is not her best closer, but still a decent song. So, yeah, probably the weakest song I would go with Tiny Love, and the best song on the album is The Healer Redux. But, again, really solid effort. I'm glad she came through with this one. I was worrying she was kind of losing it a bit with Ken, or trying to go in a more pop-oriented direction, which I am glad that she went more back to her roots a bit with Wax. I love it. I feel like Ken was like an apology for Invisible Empire almost. She's like, oh, I'm so slow in the last one. Let's make stuff upbeat. And I'm fine with upbeat, but it needs to rock out. It can't just be pop jams. So still a fantastic album at number 3. So my number 2 pick for my favorite KT Tunstall album is going to be Tiger Suit from 2010. I was just talking about this. So, absolutely love Tiger Suit. So, that's how the album opens, and, KT Tunstall, again, after her first two albums, which were kind of, used a lot of acoustic, they did use some rock and some slicker production, but, this album, she really turns it up a notch with the, more dance pop, not pop, but kind of, again, like folktronica, going with more electronic and almost dance beats, on this album, which is a really interesting thing to be saying. It kind of picks up, the opening song, Umanak song, it kind of picks up after the first chorus with, like, a dance beat. And that's how most of this album feels to me. I'm giving this one a 9.1, which I think is actually the same rating I gave What's the Story. Yeah, that's how good her albums are. Now, yes, there are Oasis songs I much prefer to KT Tunstall, but she is one of my favorite artists. So going back to, and I could have honestly gone much higher with What's the Story, but I was trying to be, like, fair or whatever. I don't know. I could have given that's a perfect album, 10 out of 10, but going back to Tiger Suit here, again, it opens up with Umanak song, which is a really good song. This was actually the first album I ever heard by her years ago when I wasn't really familiar with much music, wasn't really familiar with rock, was kind of sheltered, and my music listening didn't have a lot of music I could listen to. This is actually the first album I heard by her, and I was instantly in love. And, this album has always had a special place in my heart for that reason. So Umanak's song, such an opener, and because she was doing a bit more of a dancey electronica thing on this album, those were the songs that attracted me first, witty upbeat ones, because again, I didn't really have much experience. And also, I learned to appreciate her slow songs later, especially after listening to I Did a Telescope and her vocals on that. I learned to appreciate her slow songs and learned to appreciate her vocals. So, again, Umanak's song, fantastic opener. Glamour Puss is decent enough, but honestly a bit too poppy for my liking. Push That Knot Away. Again, this album is like it's kind of dancey, but it's not happy at all. It's a very dark vibe to this album, and I like it. Push That Knot Away, very, like, scary and sinister almost. I just kind of love the vibe she's going for with this. Such a sinister album, like, such a sinister, especially, like, some of the themes in Push That Knot Away, like, the backup, it's, like, it's almost like something you can dance to, but it's also just very, intense. Difficulty, one of my favorite songs on the album, such a fantastic song. I love that, like, guitar that just kind of goes through, and, like, very distorted, guitar, and she just sings over it. And, again, really good vocals on that song as well. Fade Like a Shadow, really good upbeat song, of course. And Lost, which is the best song on the album. This is a song that took me a really long time to appreciate, but now that I'm older and have more experience with music, wow. I love how that song just builds. It starts with a little doo-doo. It just starts very quiet, and then by the end it's like da-da-da, da-da-da-da. It just, like, builds up. I love that about this song. Golden Frame's another song that took me a long time to appreciate. It's almost a little jazzy and very slow, and very sinister for vocals again. It's coming from a very sinister type song. Come On Get In, one of my favorite songs by her has always been. It's just such an upbeat ride. I love it. And Still Weirdo, which is one of the first songs I heard by her, which I really do enjoy it. I really do. But not my favorite song of hers now that I'm going back. And then the penultimate track, Madame Trudeau, just thought, crazy hard rocker just out of nowhere, just like throws it in. I love that. And of course such distorted vocals and like the chanting in the back. Woo, that song is good. And Followed up with one of her best closers, The Entertainer, which is just a really good melodic song. It's got some piano at the end there. It just kind of builds. And I love what she's talking about. I love, like, the themes of that. So, honestly, I would say the best song on the album is probably Lost or Difficulty or The Entertainer. All great songs. I say the weakest song on the album, I go with, like, Glamour Puss, but honestly, all of the songs are fantastic. I would not say there's a weakest song. This album is just so good, in my opinion. I love it. And by the way, I think I really need to rethink my Oasis rankings, because, come on, is Healing Chemistry Don't Believe It? Like, I like them, but, like, come on, Be Here Now is an awesome album. I'm now loving Be Here Now. God, I can't make up my mind about that damn album. Okay, alright, let's calm it down a bit. Going back to Katie Tunstall, which is my number one favorite album by her, is going to be Drastic Fantastic. So I actually heard this album after Tiger Suit and then Eye to the Telescope, where this was her second album, came out in 2007, and where Eye to the Telescope felt very minimalistic at times and acoustic-y. She did kick it up a notch with some songs like Black Horse and the Cherry Tree, of course. But I feel like Drastic Fantastic, she kind of kicked it up with some slicker production and also more rock songs, more instruments going on. There's a lot more going on. It's a lot more complex and dense album compared to Eye to the Telescope. And I really like that about her. I think this is a fantastic album. Definitely my favorite album by her. And again, she kind of went up and up in terms of, like, how far she was going to go with, like, noise and complexity and dance, and then just dropped it for Invisible Empire. And is now, thankfully, with Ken a little bit weak, but with Wax coming back strong. So I will say that this album, I don't think she'll ever reach the heights of this album again. Drastic Fantastic. First of all, the title. I love the title to this album. And I love the album cover. I love her in general. I love, like, the image she has. She's just like a girl. She almost reminds me a little bit of someone like Joan Jett from back in the day. She's just, like, a female rocker. She doesn't care. Like, she's not obsessed with image or look. Like, she's not trying to over-sexualize, like a lot of stars will do. So, yes, I get a very 80s vibe from, like, her image a lot. Anyway, going to, Drastic Fantastic. My favorite album by her for 9.2. So, again, the album opens with Little Favors, which, after you hear that, after Eye to the Telescope, you just know this album is going to be, like, a rocker. It's just going to rock out, like, Little Favors. Such a good, like, slick song, everything about it, and the vocals and everything going on in that one, it's just such a jam. And then If Only, which is a really good song, pretty basic. Again, her vocals on this album are just phenomenal. White Bird, which is easily a 10 out of 10 song. There are so many 10 out of 10 songs on this album. Is actually a really nice acoustic song, which I really dig. What's going on? And there's almost a little bit of a spiritual vibe to this song. I actually saw an article about that, and I'm not really quite sure where she's going with the song, but it is so, like, what it means or whatever. But that's with her. I don't always know what her songs are about, but I'm okay with that. I like poetry. I like poetic songs. And the next song, another easy 10 out of 10 song, Funny Man. Again, just a really good rocker. I love where she goes with this, the melody, the tune, like the instrumentation, the guitar at the beginning. And I actually saw her do this, like, live, like, she was just chilling with a couple of her friends, and they were playing the song, and it was like, wow. And fantastic song. Track 5, another easy 10 out of 10 song for me, Hold On. Woo, such a good rocker, again, and I love the message of it as well. She just is, like, belting it, and, like, the bridge part where she's like, tired of January, tired of June, and, like, her vocals on that, woo, absolutely love that song. It's fantastic to me. Then, of course, we get Hopeless, which is a really good song as well, really introspective, and, again, really strong guitar hooks on that. And then we get I Don't Want You Now, which is not my favorite song. It's kind of weak in my opinion. It's probably the weakest song on the album. It's just a bit of a poppy song. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's just kind of, still has a good strong chorus though. And then Saving My Face, which is a really good, bit of a darker vibe with the instrumentation on it. And then, track 9, probably my favorite song by her, Beauty of Uncertainty. Wow, do I love this song. I just love how it starts, very, like, slow and acoustic-y, and she's, like, singing low register, and then at the end it just builds and builds and builds with, like, lyrics, and her voice, whoo! Probably one of my favorite songs by her, if not my favorite song by her. And Someday Soon is a nice way to come down, and then Paper Airplane, which are some nice kind of pair of closing songs, not her best closers ever. Probably her best closer is The Entertainer from Tiger Suit, but definitely solid, some solid closing songs there. So, yeah, probably the best song on the album. If I had to pick one, I would probably go with Beauty of Uncertainty, just because, wow, that song. I could do an entire video just about that song, about how good that song is. So yeah, without further ado, that's about it for this video. I hope you liked it. If you like it, click like, subscribe to my channel, and turn on notifications, and leave your ranking below. And if you haven't checked her out, please do, because she is one of my favorite singers. So yeah, if you like rock, or like folktronica, or like pop rock, if you like that kind of thing, please check her out. She's one of my favorite singers. And yeah, that will be it for today's video. Bye!